Hi, and welcome to some unexpected news in that Fable 5 and Mythos 5 have been banned. So, a couple of days ago, I made a small video about Fable 5 and Mythos 5, which is Entropic's new models. And after that, I thought, okay, that's it. I'm not using Entropic normally. And my most exciting thing about that was that OpenAI would probably come out with a new model. They haven't done yet, and we want to see now what happens, because as of this recording, 7 hours ago, the US government apparently suspended access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5. So, citing national security, as it says here, they have suspended access to the models, and they've been taken down. So nobody can use them anymore, and other models are not affected. I can confirm this if I look at my code and trying to run Fable 5. I just get a not found exception, and the message is Claude Fable 5's not available, and try something else. So what's going on? A little timeline of the thing about Fable 5 and Mythos 5. So back in April, we got Project Glasswing, which included the Mythos preview. And Project Glasswing was that Entropic gave people access, certain people access to a new model called Mythos that they didn't want to release because it was a security risk in their own mind. And so they gave it to other labs and other people to get various things fixed in various software around the world, and to have it also given to the government, of course, to patch up things and test and so on. And then 2 months later, we got Fable 5 and Mythos 5. Mythos 5 was essentially the same as Mythos preview, and only available to certain trusted sources, while Fable 5 was a heavy restricted model that could not talk about cybersecurity. There was some layers in front, but else they were the same model behind the scenes. And then, after only 3 days of it being released, with a few controversies in that it actually is very, very expensive to run, and the subscriptions who have it will actually also lose access at the end of June, where it will only become a model that you can pay for in the API. So it's definitely not an easy model for Entropic to host as well. But now it's been taken down. When I first heard about that, I saw it as yet another clever Entropic thing to ban the model for now because they don't have the capacity to run it or something. But it doesn't seem to be that way. Because if we look at some details, and again, I mentioned there was this. This is some statements from that blog post that they wrote. So, first of all, I'm very puzzled by it's both Fable 5 and Mythos 5 that is down at the moment. Because Mythos 5 has been out there like 2 months, as we saw, or at least in the preview version of it. And now even people who had that special access should apparently not have access. This could be a mistake. This could be something that has changed. It could be an overreaction. Just to take them both down at the same time might be easier, or whatever goes on. But it is strange that Mythos 5 is actually being taken away. Another thing, US government being US government, it is that they are essentially not saying that Fable and Mythos are not allowed, but they're not allowed by any foreign national. And that includes the foreign nationals inside Anthropic. So if you work at Anthropic and you are from France, for example, you are not allowed to use the model. So right now it's an overstatement from Anthropic, because they don't really know which country each of their users are from. They can't guarantee that in any way. So it's easier for them to disable everything and perhaps open up. But if they open up with this statement at this moment, that would mean that only Americans can use these models, while the rest of the world cannot. And that's an even more troubling thing to go into. But let's keep that at bay at the moment until we know more. Another thing I noticed is that they have stated that they only gotten some verbal evidence, and there's some thing about inside Fable that certain people can prompt it in order to actually get some kind of Metas level thing that you can avoid all these extra restrictions about cybersecurity and stuff like that. And it seems like it's researchers from Amazon who have found that and shared it with the government, and shared it with Anthropic as well, in that they could prompt it some way in order to begin to work with security vulnerabilities. If it's true or not, we haven't seen what it is people have done and why and how. But that's apparently have been the trigger of all this. Also, the thing about the level of capabilities that they talk about and so on, and it's very nice that Anthropic actually talks about this as well, that they say that models like ChatGPT 5.5 can actually do something similar to this, especially in the areas of what Fable 5 can do. What Metas 5 is still unknown, because we haven't seen exactly what it is it can do so much more. But Fable 5 and ChatGPT 5.5 have for a long time been roughly to the same level. Some benchmarks actually set 5.5 higher than even Fable 5, but most of them say Fable 5 is slightly ahead of ChatGPT 5.5. So in the post, Anthropic disagrees with that this was a wanted takedown, that it made sense. So it's not like they saw what Amazon had done up here and said, oh yeah, our bad, we have a problem here. They think it's not something that needed to do a recall on. But of course, they are trying to keep happy with the US government and are following along. But they are warning, and this is also my biggest fear right now, is that if this stands, this could halt a lot of new model development. I definitely don't think there has been rumors that either this week, which didn't happen, or next week, or at least the week after that, ChatGPT 5, 6 or 6 or whatever they wanted to call it, would have been a counter to Fable 5. That could perhaps not happen, just out of caution right now, but also bigger implications, as we can see. Because what are the possible outcomes right now? We had the launch of Fable 5 and Metas 5. We had the ban of it. And now I see it, we go in either one of two directions. How hard and how fast, let's see that. But either we will see that this is a misunderstanding and an overreaction, and in a week's time or so, we will see some restored access that Anthropic have convinced the government that this was just a big misunderstanding, and yes, it's still safe, and we restore some access. This is, of course, what we all hope right now. But if that's not the case, we could be looking into an AI winter or a slowdown. So essentially, that we are stuck with the models we have right now for some time being, while governments, the AI labs, and everyone figures out what should happen now. It's a little like the first time when we had self-driving cars and one of them went into an accident and someone was hurt or killed. Everything stops, everything needs to be checked out, everything needs to happen. This happens throughout history. And another example is the Apollo 1 incident when US wanted to go to the moon. They had a big accident on the ground, and a lot of time was spent finding out exactly what was going on. So we might be sitting now with something where we need to figure out what is allowed, what is not allowed. And in that process, to be cautious. If I were the government and this is actually real, I would definitely get rid of 5.5 as well. I don't want that to happen, but they are very close. In artificial analysis, there is a jump. Yes, it's quite big, but it's not as like some of these models that are very capable also have a 5-point gap here. And again, in some of the various benchmarks, GPT-5.5 and Fable 5 are neck and neck. And I certainly don't see a GPT-5.6 anytime soon until this has been resolved, just out of cautiousness. And again, if this is real, there is a valid point to getting rid of 5.5. I don't think this, because I think it's very, very wrong, and especially wrong that this should only happen to foreign nationals, because this is just the government being scared of, oh, can we let a foreign government use this against us? But national security is national security, of course. This is new, again, it's 7 hours ago that it actually happened. I, of course, hope that we end up in a situation where we end here. But if not, this could stop us from getting anything new. The only possible upsides I could see to that is that if the labs are being forced to not go so much into research, they might go into an efficiency, and the new race would become who can do it faster and cheaper. And in the end, that would be nice for us as well. Right now, they have so much focus on the intelligence side and not on the speed and cost side. So that's the only positive outcome I can see on the red arrow here, because the models are really, really good at the kind of code I need to do. Of course, we always want better and faster. But given the fact that I've used ChatGPT 5.5 on low mode, shows that they are more than capable of at least the agentic coding we need. But of course, we don't want to block progress for humanity. But time will tell. I will make a video about it if there's more news. But beyond that, let's have our weekend instead of sitting here making videos about breaking news. But see you in the next one.